there's indeterminate and determinate. What makes them different is a determinate will bloom once per year and you'll get a massive crop on it. It's going to be a container tomato, so that would be best for putting in a pot and keeping on a deck. An indeterminate grows off of one stem and it'll bloom all year round, or all season round, and you'll get multiple blossoms, you'll get tons of tomatoes off of it. The trick with that one though is you want to have one stem that grows off. So anytime you start to see one of these little suckers start to form a new cane, you want to pinch that off. And this can grow up to be about 6 feet tall. The difference between also heirloom, which is going to be indeterminate, and then other varieties is they're going to be more disease prone. So they do have a better flavor, but they aren't going to be as resistant to common pests and diseases that tomatoes can get. If you're able to grow the indeterminate outside, I mean, if you have like a great raised bed, it's going to be best to do an indeterminate if your goal is to just sort of do a more foraging type of growing style where like you make a salad and you want a couple tomatoes. Having something indeterminate is going to be better. If you have a pot or if you want to do a bunch of canning, determinate is going to be a smarter option for you. You want this. You want a bag of lobster compost. You can use this for if you do it in the ground or if you do it in a pot. It has a very high calcium content, which tomatoes need so they don't get blossom end rot, which is a calcium deficiency, and it'll get those bruises on the bottom. So this is a great soil. It has tons of calcium. It is the right pH already for growing tomatoes, so you won't need to mess with that at all. So if you do this and then a bag of the potting soil of like the Espoma brand, that would be great for all containers and even in the ground. Tomato Town, it's an all-purpose tomato fertilizer. This would be the best fertilizer when planting tomatoes. It's normally 3 tablespoons of this fertilizer per plant, and then you want to start fertilizing 2 weeks after that initial planting. You want to continue that twice a month till the end of the season. So from May to August, you typically want to use this product, and this will help with blossom end rot, give it a great flavor. It'll prevent cracking on the skin, and this also has the right pH for tomatoes. Tomato cages are okay if you're going to do a bush variety. If you do the indeterminate, they tend to grow on one cane, and they can be 6 to 7 feet tall by the end of the summer. And you will need to train them up because they will not be able to support themselves. And then when you do that, you want to use something soft. We use the gear ties here because they are soft on the outside, so you won't bruise the fruit, you won't bruise the stems. But anything like stockings or soft garden twine would also work. When picking a pot for your determinate or bush sizes, you need something that's at least 12 inches across and at least 12 inches deep. Something that's around 3 gallons growing size is typically best. Larger the better, but you want to make sure that the tomato that you're planting in here has a good root system that's able to absorb the water before you put it in something this large. If you had one like this, I would say the latest would probably be May, like end of May. Mother's Day is typically the day for tomatoes. So that's always a good time as like a rule of thumb to make sure you put your tomatoes outside. It's always going to be warm enough by then. Our summers are pretty hot and they last long around here. So I mean, I've planted something that's been about this size as late as, July, and I've still gotten some tomatoes. It does take a while for the fruit to ripen, so it's just always keeping that in mind and keeping up on the watering in the summer.